Welcome back to Velo, Ohio. We have a beautiful Monday, and I'm going to take the day off from work because I worked the whole weekend, and it's sort of new bike day, sort of not, but I want to talk you through a new bike that we're going to test out today, and I suppose test it out for real. So, I bought myself a single-speed 29er. This is a Gravity Deadeye single speed, and they say it's a 29er plus because it actually has these 2.3-inch Chaoyang tires on it that blow up to 2.5 inches, so a lot of rubber there. I'm sure you'll notice that it is a fully rigid 29er. In addition to being a single speed, that makes it a pretty unique bike. So what are my thoughts on getting a single speed in the first place? Well, I go to these cyclocross races, if you've been watching the channel for a little bit, these gravel grinders that usually have a single speed division. It's not the case for something like Funk Bottoms that lasts, 5 hours or so, but if you drive an hour to a cyclocross race and only race for about 40 minutes, it would be worth it to be able to enter another category. And there's usually a single speed category in cyclocross. So I thought, let me get a single speed cyclocross bike, except I felt it was just a little bit redundant having two bikes that could already claim to be cyclocross bikes. I thought, let's do something a little bit different. Let's get a mountain bike. The mountain bike trail that's very close to my house is completely flat except for one little drop and one little climb, so you don't really need the gearing, and if you have some skill, which I have very little, you don't really need suspension. I'm sure that this bike isn't going to cope great with hitting big roots, but I don't really think any bike copes great with hitting big roots. Really what you want to do is develop the skills to lift your wheels and get around it, so in that sense I do think it'll make me a better rider overall. Now, right out of the box, there were some things about the bike that I wanted to improve. It came with a very flat bar that wasn't narrow, but was only about 720 millimeters wide. So I upgraded to this bar that has a bit of an upsweep to it and is actually 780 millimeters. The grips that it came with would rotate very easily, so I replaced the grips with some proper lock-on grips here. The brakes did not perform well. They were cable actuated. I swapped them out very inexpensively for the Shimano MT200 hydraulic brakes that really have been working great. They have that one finger stopping power, and they couldn't have cost much more than 40 bucks online, so I felt that was a real steal. I shortened the stem up from 65 millimeters to 40 millimeters just to make the turning a bit more responsive, and then just so that I could have some claim to actually being a mountain biker, I did get I guess what they call an office chair dropper. That is not as user-friendly if you're constantly changing positions, because you do have to take your hands off the bar. For what I'm going after with mountain bikes, with one big drop or one little drop, it just helps to put that seat post down maybe a couple centimeters as I'm heading into some trickier terrain, just so that I can move my hips around better on the bike. This is the stock gearing. It's basically a 2-to-1 ratio, which I think is going to be perfect as far as allowing some climbing and giving me as much top speed as I need on the trails. Again, the tires are completely stock. The 2.3s do balloon up to 2.5 because these rims have a 35 millimeter internal width, which I was pretty pleased with. Buying direct to consumer, I did have to take the hubs apart, the cup and cones, just to grease them and to set the tension on the cup and cone appropriately. Both wheels needed to be trued, but besides that, it came in pretty good shape. So let's get down to the trail for the first time. We'll see how this thing actually rides. All right, guys, so you've heard my justifications, but let's see, we're at the trail. Is this bike fast? Is this bike fun? Is this bike capable? Or was it a waste of money? Let's go check it out. Roots. And we're back. So I'm back where we started, in one piece. One full lap of Burliner, it only takes about 30 minutes, so it's not an easy ride, but it's a quick ride. It's something that you could do on short time. Not only am I in one piece, but the bike is in one piece as well. So, well, the good. Chain tension. With the lack of a derailleur, I didn't have any chain slap. I don't even need a frame protection there. The brakes did really well. The Shimano MT200 hydraulics, they were great. Didn't get any brake rub. They were responsive. I'm not quite used to the one finger technique yet. I was probably going two fingers most of the time, but the brakes were outstanding. The stock tires that came with the bike, tons of volume, tons of grip. I really probably could have pushed the grip more, just being unfamiliar with riding a 29er. I didn't really know where the limits were. Going from a cyclocross bike to a fat bike, this is obviously going to sit somewhere in the middle. I'm just not sure where the limits are quite yet. Riding in flats with my 510s on, one thing that I noticed, I just had so much more confidence to do those little bridges and, you know, all these moments where I would probably slow down, clipped in, just in case something were to go wrong. I felt like with these flats on, I could let something go wrong because I'd just be able to bail out of it. So took a lot more chances, and that goes right hand in hand with the riding position, just having those flat bars and being upright, not being in that aggressive cyclocross position. It just gave me so much more confidence. Ultimately, that's what I was looking for out of a mountain bike. You know, why do I need one more bike? I already have a 27.5 2.1 inch, you know, set up for my gravel bike. So why do I even need this bike? Really just to put me in the body position that's more appropriate for riding trails like this. The single speed, it never really held me back. I mean, we've got this little hill here and there were a couple climbs, but that 2-to-1 gearing, it's really very adequate for what is, you know, sort of a glorified cyclocross course, cross-country trail. I hardly needed to use the dropper post. You don't even really need it for a drop like that. I used it on some of the jumps just to give me some maneuverability for my hips, but I didn't find myself using the dropper too often, but I do like to have it.